Hi everyone, my name is Joel Clear. I'm the host of the Authentic Convos podcast. If you're wondering what it's about exactly that, as its title says. It's about having authentic and genuine conversations with people from backgrounds such as business, sport, entrepreneurship, self-development, and more importantly, people who work in the mental health space. It does have a mental health awareness focus for various topics which aren't really well known. However, I hope you do go to some previous episodes to learn more about the story, about why I do this. So if you do enjoy the content, please make sure you subscribe, or you can hook up on social media by checking out the notes as well and checking me out on the Authentic Convos podcast. I'd love to hear from you, any improvements on how to make it better. If you do me a favour, make sure you leave a rating and a review on wherever you leave your podcast. That will help me out as well. So I hope you enjoy this episode of the Authentic Convos podcast. And my guest today is Haydar Hussein. Now, Haydar Hussein is the Gyms Cleaning Group divisional owner. And how long have you been with the Gyms Group in total, Haydar? How many years?
This 30th of June, which is a couple of days ago, that was my 19th year. So we've actually entered the 20th year, which is exciting.
And you're also our first Lifetime Achievement Award winner for gyms.
Thank you very much for that, mate. That's a real honour. And I've put the picture and the certificate in front of my office here. And whoever comes to see me gets to see that first. So
fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, for anyone who doesn't know you, I just want to run down your background and stuff like that. So can you just tell us a little bit about yourself? You know, where were you born or where were you raised?
Sure.
About your early days.
Lovely. Well, I was born in a little island called Cyprus in the Mediterranean in 1968. And as a family, we left there and we came to Australia when I was about 5 years old, due to perceived war was coming.
Right.
And in fact, we came in 73 and the war did happen in 74. So my parents wanted to escape that because they were kind of involved in war in the past. You know, I think 69, there was a war as well. Mm-hmm. It's pretty bad stuff, as you can imagine. So they wanted to save their kids, me and my sister. So they brought us to Australia to start a new life. And it's worked out awesome for all of us.
Mm. And where were you? Where was the first area in Melbourne you came into?
Well, to come to Australia in those days, you needed a sponsor. And my mother had an uncle who kind of said he was going to sponsor us, and he lived in Richmond. So we came to Richmond to kind of stay with them, and that kind of never happened. My parents had to rent. So we rented in Richmond for a year, and then we moved to a suburb called Thomastown. And that's kind of where I grew up, and we stayed there until 1986, I think it was.
Yeah. So as a young man growing up in Melbourne back in the day, what was it like? How'd you find it?
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Thomastown in those days was predominantly the edge of Melbourne. So after us came a lot of paddocks and bushland and stuff. So most of my days were spent in the bush, walking and digging holes and climbing trees and stuff. So I had an unreal childhood.
Fantastic. Now let's talk. Now I've got you on for a reason now. So I didn't touch on it in the intro, but how many franchisees do you currently have at this date?
Okay. Well, that's a bit hard to explain, Joel, because at the moment we're experiencing COVID. So there's a lot of uncertainty in our business, and some of our franchisees have kind of got scared and they kind of suspended their business.
Yep.
And I think there's about 35-ish that are suspended. So if we include them, we are over 870 franchisees. And in fact, we just had a training session last week and we had 34 in training. So if they all sign up, hopefully we might get up to the 900th franchisee.
And is that a first of the Gyms Cleaning Group?
Oh, shit, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The highest number we got to that I know of was 867.
Yeah.
So
fantastic.
To achieve 900 would be a great achievement. Definitely well on the road to 1,000 franchisees.
And that's the goal, I think, for the end of the year. I remember you saying before.
Yep. That is definitely the goal. And that's kind of all we talk about in this office. And as you know, we have training every 3 weeks. So we just prepare and gear ourselves up for that training date and try and get as many as we can into that date. And that's kind of how we run things here. We're kind of governed by that date, the training date.
Yeah, it's a fantastic achievement, and obviously you're already the largest in Australia, but it would just solidify that spot as the largest cleaning franchise in Australia. And I know you're in New Zealand as well now, aren't you?
Yes, and doing pretty well there too. The people that look after it for us there, they're pretty switched on. And I'm not sure of the number, but I think it's past 50. or very close to 50 at least.
Mm.
So that's a pretty good achievement too.
Absolutely. So I want to touch on now your early career before gyms. So what were you doing before gyms cleaning?
Well, I only ever really had one job. My father was a bank manager, and I inspired to be just like him. So obviously the first thing I did when I was 17 years old, I got a job in the bank trying to follow his footsteps. And the things that appealed to me about him were he was very respected in our community, and he had his own office and his own car park spot and stuff like that. And that's kind of what I wanted. But by the time I got into the bank, things were a little bit different. Managers in those days, they didn't have offices anymore. It was all like these common work areas and stuff like that. So I quickly got turned off, to be honest. But by saying that I got turned off, I still stayed there for 10 years.
So you want to follow in your father's footsteps. So have the office. You like it that your father knew everyone around the area, have your own car spot, have that sort of stuff. But as you said, when you got in there, it sort of things changed with the open plan office. And
yes.
Yeah. So why'd you stay there for so long if that wasn't what the vision you wanted to do?
I don't know. I think I don't want to throw my father under the bus, but it was kind of him. He was kind of explaining to me that, son, just stay here. Your super is guaranteed. It's a secure job. Just bite your tongue and, do your time, and your time might be, 40, 50 years or whatever it is. And at the end of it, you'll walk out with a very healthy super. And that's kind of what life's all about. And I kind of challenged that for many years, and I found it difficult to convince him otherwise. And at the end, I just kind of went against him and left. And that's kind of the truth of it. It was my father that kept me there for so many years.
Was that a hard thing to do and on your end to sort of go and take that leap of faith and go and do your own thing, or to sort of separate yourself from it? Or
it was, mate. Obviously, everyone respects their parents, and I just didn't want to go against him. And it worked out well for him. We always had family holidays together, and we lived a pretty comfortable life, and he was doing pretty well out of it. And he was only working 5 days a week, coming home at a reasonable hour, all the good stuff. Yeah, and I didn't really know how to do anything else, because I left school at the end of year 11, so I didn't have any uni degree or any backup plan. And if I had left, where would I have gone? I don't know.
So what did you leave to go and do back then?
Well, while I was at the bank, I wanted to try different things and obviously try and improve my income. So I did cleaning part-time in the bank where I was working. So, each branch every night needs to get cleaned. So I found out who looked after that and convinced them to allow me to clean that bank every night. So after 5 o'clock, I'd change into my tracksuit and, do a bit of extra cleaning where I was working, which was quite easy and fun and exercise and extra money too.
So that was your first job, was actually cleaning that place you work? Your place to do it. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, and then over time, I built that up to cleaning 4 branches, so the neighbouring suburbs, I was doing them. And then that was, working out pretty well. So I thought, maybe I could start a cleaning business out of this, something on the side, part-time. So I printed some business cards and some flyers and stuff. And by that stage, I had a very good relationship with a lot of business owners due to to working at the bank. So I kind of slipped them my card here and there. And they were pretty supportive. I had a very good friend of mine who owned a pub. So he let me clean his pub, and then there was a restaurant. And before I knew it, there was a couple of builders as well. And those, because I was building up the work, I had to basically employ people, which I did. And then I worked out that my, side hustle, I was kind of earning more money than my day job.
I was going to say it's very, very forward thinking back then, because obviously everyone's encouraged now to have a side hustle now. It's sort of a trend sort of thing the last couple of years. But you were doing that back then before it was, let's say, a trendy thing. And then when did your side hustle, when did that business you sort of gone, oh, geez, I can step away from the bank here. I'm actually enjoying this a bit more.
Yeah, it was kind of like 10 years into the business, into my banking career, sorry.
Yeah.
So, it was some time after that I started. And I actually did something even more special than that. I was one of the first people in the bank to take paternity leave.
Really?
Yeah, so we had a
Okay.
baby, and I took paternity leave, and hopefully it's not used against me, but in my paternity leave, I was kind of trying to build my cleaning business.
So you knew while all the time I was doing this. Well, did you know the side hustle was going to develop into a own business, or was it just something at the time, a bit of cash extra on the weekends or something?
Yeah, mate. It was just for a bit of extra cash on the side. No, I had no intentions of building a business. At that stage, I still wanted to be a bank manager.
So when did that transition from wanting to be a bank manager to then going, oh, I want to do my own business and step away from the bank?
Well, it must have been around the 10th year, because I was in the bank for, I think, 10 or 11 years. Well, to be honest, yes, I did start the part-time business for some extra cash, but the biggest reason for starting my business was not so much to earn big, millions of dollars or anything. I always wanted my own office. And that's kind of what it was about. So I thought, if I took this cleaning business and I made it bigger, that way I could employ more staff, and then I would need an office, and I would need the secretary, and I would need the parking spot. And those were the things that I was chasing. And obviously I also knew I wasn't stupid. I knew that if I had achieved that, I would have made extra money as well. But the biggest motivator was to have my own building and, my own parking spot and all that, the corny stuff that I wanted when I was younger.
That's quite interesting. So do you think if the bank gave you your own office that you wouldn't have maybe pursued something outside of it, or was it just?
Well, I don't think I would have, Joel, no.
Right.
Because that's all I wanted since I could remember, 5 years old. I just wanted to be like my dad.
Yeah.
Wear a suit, put on the aftershave, and go to work,
Yeah.
And the sad thing is I don't do that these days either.
I was going to say, you have the normal Jim's Cleaning branded business shirt. And
well, times change. Yeah. Really, that was 25, 30 years ago now. And
for me, I found something interesting. You said that you had a vision that you just wanted to have the office and you have this sort of working for you, but you didn't know, let's say, maybe what business was going to do that for you, or how you just had that vision where you had a vision in your head, I want to do this, and you sort of like, well, how do I go and achieve it? And you've achieved it via a cleaning business.
Exactly right, mate. That's all it was. It was that I could see what I wanted, the office, and I could see that very early in my teens. And all I needed was the vehicle to get me there. And yes, I did think banking was that vehicle, but it obviously wasn't. And the next best step was this little side hustle that was doing pretty well.
Yeah. Because it's quite important. Something that's mentioned a lot today is visualization. People say you got to visualize your goals, or sports people want to visualize themselves doing a play or something.
Yes.
So it's how important do you think visualization is for anyone in general?
Okay, my opinion to that is 100%. That is what gets you there. I'm living proof of that. And not just my business career, mate. My house is exactly how I visualized it, when I was a child. The vehicles that I drive, it's exactly how I visualized it.
You drive some nice cars for anyone who's
that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
And even the fact of how I go to work, all these little things that I'm achieving today or doing today is exactly how I visualized it when I was younger.
Is this something you practice, or is it just something you've always had in you?
I think it's just something that I believed in. And because I believed it so much, it just happens that way. I wouldn't do anything any different. Everything I do, I visualize it first, the end product, and then I just work out a way how to get there.
I was going to say, because it's quite interesting, because I wrote down on my list of notes, I had vision and how'd you go bring that vision to life? And you sort of married the two up, didn't you? You had the vision, and then you had the cleaning business, which started doing really well.
Yep.
And then you used that vehicle or use that, business to then.
Sure. That's it. I work it backwards.
Yeah.
So I see it first, and then I work it backwards on how to get there. And then I work forwards to get there.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So now
I wonder if that's common. I don't know if it's common.
Well, I think it's common to successful people, because if you watch a lot of sporting people like Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, they always say the same thing about visualizing things in their head and making it happen on the field, or on the court.
Awesome.
But now I want to talk about your cleaning business. So how long in your cleaning business were you going in, and how did you then come involved into gyms?
Sure. Well, I think I started as a business in 1989 with the employees and leaving the bank.
Yep.
And then I joined gyms in 2001. So it's at 2 or 3 years. I was independent.
Yep.
And I found it very hard to be independent because remember, I wanted the office, right? It wasn't about income. So to have the office, I knew I needed national work. I needed to be bigger than what I was to be able to afford my dream. And by trying to get work nationally, I just found it very difficult. Whoever, all the people that were tendering and stuff, they just didn't accept my name. We were called the cleaner choice at that stage.
Yep.
And people were asking, who are you? Or how long you been in business? And all these questions that I really couldn't answer. So I went in the search of, I didn't. I received a letter from a national cleaning business who actually wanted to be, they were based in Adelaide and they wanted to be national. So what they wanted to do was partner with other businesses to become like one big organisation. So that prompted me to look at other things. And coincidentally, my next door neighbour's brother, he was working in the gyms group in the head office at the time. And in chatting with him, he kind of mentioned possibly we could do that with the gyms group, which I rejected at the time.
Yep.
I thought, why would I do that? And then he convinced his brother to start Gyms Antennas, and he was an independent antenna guy working on his own. So he did that for about 12 months. And then I saw him, renovating his house and buying new cars and all these nice things. So that prompted me to look into it a bit further. And then at the end, I kind of got sick of researching it and thinking about it. And I just thought I'd give it a go.
So what made you decide then? Well, did you come in back in the day and do the training or meet Jim first, or how did that transition go?
I must have met Jim. I can't remember, but his documents clerk or lady, Shirley, her name was. I met with her a few times, and then before I knew it, I was signing up. A little bit naive, I suppose. And the investment was an affordable investment. It was $25,000. So I just thought I'd give it a go.
Yeah, because it's quite an interesting one. Because I think you said so you were in business by yourself for what was it, 11 years, 12 years?
No.
Sorry.
Well, part-time for a while, but
part-time for a while. Yep.
Yeah, as a standalone business, probably 3 years.
3 years, right?
Yes.
Right. So and as you said, you were trying it hard to get the commercial to be taken seriously at the tender level and stuff like that. And
yes.
So you started as just an individual franchisee, did you? Or
I bought what they call a region.
Yep.
Or what they call master franchise or regional franchisor, and I granted myself a franchise as well, which we're allowed to do. And so I was working throughout the day doing cleaning work, trying to manage the staff that I had, and then in the process trying to grow the region by selling franchises.
So you were being flat out back then trying to do everything. Yeah.
But I loved it. I really did.
Yeah.
I felt really special. And in fact, one of the first things I did, I used to clean an office for somebody, a good friend of mine, which was a courier business. And I did a contra deal with them. I said, look, I'll do the cleaning for you if you give me an office, and which he did. And I remember decorating my office, putting little posters up and, special pens and all that sort of stuff. So bang, I was in business, mate. I had my own office. It wasn't really mine, but it's still an office.
What stands out to you back looking on that time? Because you say with such enthusiasm, was it just the excitement about, you're building the thing, the new challenges that come up, or was it just go all the time? Or what was exciting about the time?
Oh, it was all of it, mate. Getting up in the morning and just trying to achieve things. And I knew that everything I achieved, it was all for my benefit. Whereas, when you're working for an employer, yes, you might get a pat on the back, but it's doesn't really mean anything, does it?
Yeah. And how many people did you roughly have in your business back in the day?
I had maybe 4 or 5 that worked for me. We used to do a lot of builders clean type work.
Right.
So we were out there doing that. which was my work from before. And then from the gyms group, I was getting new leads. I was actually doing carpet cleaning as well at the time. So I was getting new leads to do carpets. So, throughout the day, I'd go out and do a few carpet jobs, come back in the office, try and act like a entrepreneur,
Yeah.
And it was good. I got my family involved. My wife at the time was involved. So we, at home would sort of chat about it and think of ways of putting it all together.
So how did you then go from being the one region where you've granted yourself a franchise? What was your next steps then? Is it something where you wanted more and you then bought more regions, or how did you then build your business up to where? Tell us about the journey from where obviously you're there to where you are today.
Sure. So I was, like I said, I was sharing an office at a friend's place. So then I took the leap and I actually rented out my own office on Bell Street, which was really exciting. So it was my own this time. And we renovated that and, decked it all out, which meant I really had to make this work. So in those days, the best way to sell franchises was the franchise expos. So, and there was one coming up. So we went to the expo. And then I think I had my first sale from that expo. And the person that wanted to buy actually wanted to buy in an adjoining region that I didn't own. So what Jim had done at the time, he broke Melbourne up into 4 quarters, and I had 1 quarter and there was another guy who had another quarter, and the other 2 were vacant. So these people wanted to buy a franchise in the vacant area, which meant if I sold it, Jim would have got all the money. So then I thought, oh no, I can fix this. Best thing to do is buy that region as well.
Yeah.
So I quickly wrapped that up and sold them a franchise in that region. And then, the journey began from there. And I thought, oh yeah, so if you own more regions, you've got more catchment area. So I just went on the rampage to buy more areas. And then from there, I think we moved to New South Wales and then Gold Coast. And then, 3 or 4 years into it, I made Jim an offer for the whole thing, which he accepted. And then I became the owner of all of it.
So with buying those regions, obviously they're a very coveted thing now, but back in the day, how easy was it to negotiate with people to get their other regions?
Well, most of the regions were vacant, so they were owned by Jim himself.
Yep.
And he kind of had a $25,000 figure on most regions. And to be honest, Jim was very good to me. A lot of the regions that I bought on vendor finance. So I was paying him off slowly. And I still remember there was a time when I owed him about $150,000. 20 years ago, that was a lot of money. And I was paying that off slowly. Yeah. And that was kind of the only way I could do it because I didn't have too much money. But, it all worked out well in the end.
Did you view it as much as, what did your dad especially think back in the day when you were doing this sort of thing? Did you think it was much risk? Because obviously, as you said, it's a lot of money, $150K, even now, but back in the day it would have been a really big amount of money. What did your dad and your parents think about what you were doing?
He was proud because, I was continuously buying good things and holidaying. Obviously he could see that I must have been making money somewhere. But he always, and until today, he always asks, are you making enough? Do you need some help?
It's even to this day.
Yeah. He did that about 1 week ago. He asked me, he goes, how are you going with COVID? If you're struggling, let me know. And I said, Dad, mate, I'm all right now, So, but he could see, even he must see now. I'm sure he does from the stuff that I have. He must be making money, I presume.
Now, taking on with your vision, what you're saying before about your vision, did you ever envision at the time when you're buying the regions, was it something you had to own maybe all of Australia, all of New Zealand as the cleaning group, or how did you make that happen? Because you've got the cleaning group, which is a little bit different. It's not just cleaning. You've got window and pressure cleaning, car detailing, blinds. You've got a lot of things. So
yeah, true. I always visioned that it would be big. Now, big to me in those days would have been, 100, 150 franchisees. That was big. And I always knew it was going to be around that number. And in fact, I remember when I think it was my second print of business cards, instead of printing regional franchisor, I printed national franchisor.
Right. Yep.
And we're allowed to. So because I could always see that that's what I was going to be. I'm divisional franchisor, but it's very similar to being a national franchisor. So yeah, I could see it was going to be successful, but I didn't expect 900 franchisees. No.
And where did the idea to come from? Because you started off as cleaning, but now you've got, as I said before, carpet detailing. Carpet cleaning. You've got car detailing. You've got all these other things. So where did that idea become to make them their own separate franchises?
Sure. Well, it actually came from by analysing our information, and as you would know, we analyse our complaints, and yes, we're getting a lot of complaints from cleaners who weren't doing the right thing with carpet cleaning, or they were scratching windows. So then I thought, you need to be an expert at what you do. So we sat down and we separated the divisions. And because early days, if you bought a cleaning franchise, you could kind of do carpet on the side or windows as well. And by separating them, you become an expert at what you do. And that was the driving force behind it. So our carpet cleaners now are all, fully trained. They've got the best machines on the market, and they're insured for their service. And that's what it's all about. So in fact, there'll be a carpet doctor or a window cleaning doctor in some ways.
Yeah, no, I think it's quite a good thing to point out is, so you based that assumption, as you said, based on complaints. You want to improve the quality of work, and you thought, right, if this person's just going to be dedicated to these particular services, they're going to do a far better job, less complaints, more customers, away we go. Correct.
And they can also invest in better machinery. So the cleaners, yes, they do carpet cleaning, but they do it with, a $5,000 carpet machine. That's not what I wanted. I wanted to be the best in best in the field. So our carpet cleaners these days have machines worth, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000.
There's a lot of stuff I remember seeing with Sal when we did some videos at one of the suppliers with the white cleaning products, and
correct.
It was quite. I didn't know how complicated it was, how complex it was. So it was good to see, and all the great gear that the guys use.
Yeah.
Now, what were some problems along the way when scaling this business up? So you went from a region to franchisee, would have been very exciting. And you progressively built along the way. So what have been some problems that have stuck out to you, and some solutions maybe to those problems?
You know what, Joel? To be honest, we haven't really had many problems. Franchising itself, or the gyms group anyway, it's very simple because we're all governed by a contract. And, to scale my business, I had to sell regional franchisors as well that I support and look after. And I haven't had problems because, again, they're governed by the same contract, the same rules. I don't think I've had many problems at all.
Because I was going to say, from the outside looking in, from anyone listening, Haydar has a very good culture in your division. Your regionals all seem to get along in that, which is not that common sometimes in franchising, just because the way it is with different personalities and whatever else. So what are your sort of beliefs, or how do you go about managing so many people in your division?
Well, it starts at selection.
Yep.
So we kind of only allow people that we can get along with and have the same vision as mine, or their family people. So we select the right fit, and then from that fit, I know that I can work with them, and in fact learn from them too. A lot of the knowledge that I've got is from the people around me, and that again comes from selection. I select people that I can learn from, and vice versa. And they get satisfaction from sharing as well. That's human nature. They don't just work here. They're part of the whole mechanics of the whole machine, So they follow the system. I follow the system. It works.
Now let's touch on real quickly about Jim, because you have a lot of interaction with Jim. I know you have, you sit down and have meals with him quite regularly, but how was the early days with Jim when you met him? What did you think? And all that sort of stuff.
Well, the early days, I didn't really spend much time with Jim at all, to be honest. Part of my yearly planning was to avoid him as much as possible.
I was going to say, it should be some franchisors what their plan is now. But,
is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I personally didn't have many problems with him, but I could see others having issues. And, he's a very black and white guy, which now I really respect, but some people don't like that. So over time, I've become kind of black and white as well. Black and white meaning yes or no. Like there's no grey area, and that has brought us closer together, and we can chat, for hours on the phone. And it's so motivating at the moment. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Early days was hard. Yeah.
Well, what do you find motivating about the chats now? Is it just the ideas that you're throwing around, or is it more?
Yeah.
Obviously, you've built that relationship over many years. There's a lot of respect.
Correct. His vision, it's always the same direction. He just wants to improve and learn and teach and attract good people. He's not about selling for the sake of making money. And I like that, It's just, I don't know, just knows what he's talking about. And I like to be involved with people like that.
Well, he's obviously got a lot of respect for you because you're in Jim's book. I remember reading there's a whole
120.
Yeah, wow. There's a whole bit on there and there about how it all started up, and so we've obviously got a lot of respect for you, which is a great thing to have. Now, I want to touch on real quickly about you mentioned to me before the podcast a while back about your approach to business, which I thought was really interesting, and you called yourself a self-described copycat businessman.
Yes,
and I thought it's a great term. I just want to talk about that real quickly because I think it's a great thing to go into about just for anyone who's listening about business. Yeah.
I understand. Yeah, well, franchising, really, it's copycatting, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You see other successful people, and around me, Jim Penman is the most successful mowing business in the world. So basically, I tried to copy whatever I could copy. Our tops are blue. I even considered making them green at one stage because
really,
how popular mowing is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's gone out there, he's made mistakes and learned from them. And why would I want to go out and make the same mistakes? Just copy what they've done. In fact, copy it and do it better. And that's the goal at the moment. Whatever they do, I'll do it and I'll do it better.
It's probably been a good thing. Well, good thing you've done that because a lot of people might want to do things their own way all the time and stuff. But I think how you've grown the business so quickly in 19 years with that formula, If you look at, let's say if you double it, you would have been at probably the same numbers as mowing, which I know you want to get to one day, don't you? You want to overtake the mowing division, which has got 1,800 franchisees, I think.
Yeah, 100%. That's my goal, mate. That's the driving focus. Yeah, so I didn't have to discover new things. Well, sorry, that's not true. I mean, everything that I discover is bonus to what I've copied. So if I spent the energy on discovery in doing things that had already been done, I'd probably be the loser, wouldn't I?
Well, do you think people overcomplicate it now these days in regards to business or business practice?
People outside of gyms, or
well, let's say outside of gyms, or just outside of gyms. Is there anything like people say I want to do a business, this and that, and they want to get fancy and stuff with all different concepts and
100%. Yeah, we're pretty lucky. Gym's not overly complicated. It's a very basic, simple, honest system. And if you just follow that formula, you'll win. There's no need to overcomplicate anything. And in fact, if you research something too much, you get so overwhelmed and confused by it, you'll end up not doing it. Whereas from what I've learned from Jim or copied from Jim is just keep it simple. Just follow the fundamentals, customer satisfaction, franchisee satisfaction, make sure everyone's making profit, and the rest is easy, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, it's obviously you're living proof of it. So how do you manage your day? So you've got such a large network, and you're the CEO, of the largest cleaning franchise in Australia. How do you go about managing your day with systems in your business, delegation, this sort of stuff?
Sure. Again, I try and keep it very simple. So I try and avoid day-to-day management of, I'll call it trivial stuff, but it's probably not the word. I try to be available to everyone that's within my circle. That includes my family as well.
Yeah.
So because I'm not doing day-to-day little stuff, about I'm not involved with jobs or I don't know. I don't even know. I can't remember. It's been so long that I haven't done it. I just basically, I'm available to people that need me. And then if no one's needing me, I actually go and stick your beak into their areas too.
Right.
So, I'll go and sit down with Ali just while we're chatting. I'll understand what he's doing and try and assist with what he's doing at the time. Or if he's got any issues, he can share with me at the time. So my biggest strength is being available, I think.
Mm. Was it easy was it hard to let go of stuff back in the day to put that system in place of delegation? Because I know a lot of people find it hard sometimes to delegate responsibilities, or how did you set that system up?
Well, I don't think it was hard because I'm not excited about responsibilities. I like to be, I like my own free time as well. So in some ways, I try and avoid as much manual work as possible to be able to take time off and do my own thing. But I don't do much of my own thing anymore. I'm involved in the business as much as I can. But the motivator is to be able to disappear. No one will know that I've disappeared. If that makes sense.
Right. That's a credit to you, because obviously you build up that framework and you put the people in positions.
Yes, I have very good people around me, mate. Yeah. My CEO, Ali, or our sales team, our contracts department, our franchisors are awesome. There's 50 plus franchisors now. Each one as good as each other.
And you regularly keep up to date with your franchisors, don't you?
Yes, we do. I just become available to them. And then if I got some spare time, I'll ring them as much as I can. But we have a monthly report that we ask every franchisor to complete, which is online. And that report comes directly to me, which is like a snapshot of their situation or challenges or issues. And then if there's something abnormal or something that needs attention, I'll reply to that report. And that just keeps us all in the same loop.
And in the cleaning group, you've also gone out of your way to start creating products.
Yes.
As well, which is, I think, is quite interesting. Obviously, uniform suppliers as well.
Yes.
You've got almost a total solution, I would say, almost for.
Yeah.
The only thing you probably don't have is ready to go make cars at your headquarters. So, you talk about what your vision was or what your idea was with that, because the Jim's Cleaning Group products are great, and you can check them out on, is it the Cleaner's Choice website?
Correct.
Yep. We'll put a link in the notes. So do you want to talk about actually developing a product from scratch? Because it's something that's quite popular now. You have a lot of e-commerce people, and people want to make money online and develop a product, have it made, all that sort of stuff. So maybe you want to talk about your journey real quickly with the Jim's Cleaning Group products.
With the cleaning product side of things, initially the need to look at doing that was due to our insurance claims. I think we had problems with an oven cleaner. Who kept damaging surfaces and scratching ovens and stuff. So we're looking into there, and then we just thought, why not have a complete package or a complete range? And it took ages. It took us around 5 years to research and put it all together. But now we've got a cleaning product for every solution. From windows to wiping tables or even floors. We've got our own range for that. And the best part about it, they're enzyme based, so they're very good for the environment. But not only that, the best part is they'll never damage the user. And that's important. If you're using chemicals all day, you put your health at risk, where ours aren't actually chemicals. They are plant-based products. So our franchisees are kept safe.
And how long did that take you to develop that product, or how did that come about?
Well, we tried to make it ourselves. So we researched the world, for formulas and stuff that we could copy. And we tried to get a chemist and possibly a factory and all that sort of stuff. And at the end, we decided against that, and we just basically, in conjunction with a supplier, we modified their formula. Well, not really. We modified the scent of the formula, and we're just putting our branding on it. But it is a very niche product. It's the only one of its kind in the country. I'm not sure of the world. Regardless if it's ours or not, it is the best product on the planet, I would say.
Yeah? Wow. Yeah. And so the majority of the franchisees who go to people's home, they're using these products in their
yes,
home,
they
commercial
are.
premises.
Yeah, we're putting it in because when we sell a franchise, we give them a starter pack, which includes all their equipment and all the products that they need. So these days we add the products into the starter pack and they get to try them. And, 9 out of 10 times they fall in love with it and continue to use it.
Now, with the current crisis, how did you handle your division? Because I know for the first couple of weeks, it could have, everyone was sort of worrying and things like that, clients cancelling and stuff like that. So how did you respond and deal with that sort of environment?
Well, April was the scariest time, when there was a lot of cancellations and new leads dropped down by at least 50%. And then every 3 weeks or so, we sign up on average 15 to 20 new franchisees. So we rely on that new work. And because our existing franchisees, their regulars were dropping off, they wanted to take the new work coming in. So it was a big challenge. So it made it hard for us to put new guys on. And plus the existing guys had to struggle because they had to go out and quote and, they weren't used to that. They were all used to having their regulars. So what we did in Melbourne, we were pretty lucky. Melbourne advertising, we collect the money as a group. So we actually had some savings. I think it was just under 100,000 or so. So we're able to invest that into quick call to action type marketing. And that really worked. But Ali, again, a credit to Ali, he acted very early and he looked at SEO and we engaged the company. I think it was about 15, 20 grand a month or something, where they've really spent a lot of energy to increase our space, the Google space. Made us most areas we're page one for most services, and that kind of got us through. And now we find that new leads were up by about 40%. I
was going to say, that the effect now would be very positive, right? It was very dire for the time, but all that work and investment you've put in now is going to benefit the franchisees greatly.
Exactly. And so that extra money that we spent, we did TV with that, and we haven't done TV for years. We did a radio campaign and we did this thing that was called Kudo or something like that. So that increased brand awareness. The SEO stuff have kicked in. And I was pretty quick to act as well. We got our own disinfectant product now.
Now let's talk about this, because this is going to be something that people who are listening online or watching, they're going to see a lot of it promoted with disinfectant cleans, COVID cleans, this sort of stuff. So maybe you want to chat about that, how you did that.
Well, again, I went to the chemical guy or the product guy, Raymond, and he had a product, and I think it was like $50 a litre or something like that. And I said, well, fine, we're happy to pay that, but this bottle, how am I going to get this bottle around the country? To send one bottle to Perth is probably $50. It just doesn't work. So I challenged him to sit down and find me a solution. And what he did was he concentrated the product where he condensed it into like a 1 litre format and, changed the dilution rates and so on and so forth. So then we quickly filmed some footage on how to apply this product and what machinery to use and the benefits of doing it. And we sent the product all over the country with the video and we had a training video as well for our franchisees, and we quickly diversified and became disinfectant experts. And
your franchisees have now picked up a lot of, let's say, commercial work and a lot of residential work with this sort of particular. Yes.
It's very, very popular or in high demand. Most businesses are disinfecting 2 or 3 times a week. New homes, you buy a new house, why not get disinfected? We're even doing cars. We've got contracts with some big names across the country where we disinfect their cars on lease and stuff like that, or rental cars. And even just general housing, you get your house cleaned, why not disinfect it once a month? And when we say disinfectant, we don't disinfect, the whole thing, the roof and the cupboards and stuff. We do the touch points, which is the front door handles, bathrooms and stuff like that. So it's very affordable. Like we can disinfect the touch points of a house for less than $100. So
and and the trend just keeps going up in terms of popularity with that service.
Yes, mate. I don't know the numbers of it, but it's very much one of our most popular services now. And it's all because we were able to act quick and train our people, and have the product available. And in fact, now we're even on selling our own product to schools.
Really?
Yeah, we're bottling it up and selling it because our product, once again, it's a disinfectant that's got no alcohol in it, and it's plant-based, which it's quite unique. It is a bit early in the market. People predominantly think when you think disinfectant, it has to have alcohol in it, but it doesn't. And I think once people calm down and they understand how that works, I think we're in a very good position to on-sell this product, hopefully worldwide.
I was going to say, yeah, you're pretty ahead of the market with people, because I know on the label is that you have environmentally friendly, you have plant-based, and you have, and that's obviously plant-based. Anything's quite a big trend at the moment.
Yes.
And you're right in what you said. It's quite interesting. People want sometimes that smell or something. They want to know that it's cleaning, but if people can change their opinions or awareness about a product in that, you don't need that to be effective.
I'm very confident it's going to change. People are going to get sick of alcohol on their hands, mate.
Yeah.
Everyone's skin is starting to dry. I suppose it's for the moisturising companies, but I do believe, 5, 6, 7, 8 months, our chemical would be in high demand.
Oh, that's great. Now, I want to touch on about where, obviously, you got lots of visions and you're a vision-based person. Yes. What's your vision for yourself or for your business in the next, let's say, 5 years, 10 years?
Well, the vision's always the same. Full steam ahead. Our foot's on the accelerator. We've kind of, the ultimate goal is to be bigger than Jim's Mowing.
Okay.
Which, as you mentioned before, is 1,800 franchisees. So we're nearly halfway there. But if we break that down, if we get to 1,000 franchisees by the end of the year, we're well ahead of schedule. We full steam ahead, just keep going for that goal. The thing is, I don't know what I'm going to do after I pass it. And I'm sure we will pass Jim's Mowing one day.
Is it something, so basically as your vision at the moment is past Jim's Mowing, and that's just a full steam ahead goal, and you'll reassess maybe as you get closer to it? Yep.
It's just simple. Just keep going for that goal. And that's how we got to this number already. It's working. So just keep doing the same thing. Constantly improving, making our tools better, supporting our franchisors to be able to grow, continuously, providing better support to their franchisees. Because we worked out happy franchisees attract new potential buyers.
Well, it's your best referral, isn't it? Obviously,
100%. Yeah.
So let's talk about the support systems then for anyone who's sort of listening or interested. What are the support systems you have in place for franchisees in the cleaning group?
Well, franchisees are supported by a local franchisor.
Yep.
And a franchisor is usually someone that's already been there and done it. So they might have been a franchisee before, who's built a franchise themselves, done the service themselves. So they're actually talking the walk. So they're local to them. Again, available via phone or email, but also holding regular team meetings where they can share their experiences and knowledge and support their franchisees to achieve a business, whatever size they want. Some people are happy to earn $1,000 a week. Some people want 10,000 a week. Each wanting a different level of support. They just have to work together to achieve that.
And what are some of the largest businesses that you can remember that a franchisee's built off the top of your head in your time?
Franchisees. Well, I was with one a couple of hours ago. He's got 18 employees. 18 employees. I don't know his turnover.
Wow.
But he's buying his second service now. So he was a cleaning franchisee. Now he's doing a window cleaning franchise as well to complement his cleaning service. And he does a lot of schools and offices and stuff like that. So he's obviously very successful to support 18 people.
Oh, absolutely. You can only do it estimate in your head what he'd be turning over. That's fantastic. How long has he been going in business for?
It's less than 5 years.
Less than 5 years?
Yeah. And I don't want to, he accredits a lot of his success to my support. So in the early days, he was one of the I was managing a region temporarily, and I was the guy who sold him his franchise. And he reckons that the support that I provided him was something that's made him achieve this, level of success.
Well, that's fantastic. So I was going to say, a lot of people listening probably don't realize, but you do, in your time, you probably would have made a lot of people very wealthy and a lot of very successful families. Do you obviously you take some pride in knowing that you've helped, it'd be thousands of people in regards to.
Yeah. Joel, that's one of my biggest motivators, mate. It's awesome. Even my staff around here. In fact, there's one just walked right in the room now. Bill, he's an old friend of mine who I convinced him to buy a franchise. I don't know, it was probably 10, 15 years ago. And since then he's gone off and bought a few regions, and he manages over 150 franchisees now.
Wow.
So I'm sure he's making a bit of coin.
I'm sure he's doing quite well. And all those. But I was going to say, do you think, well, I had a question here down, which was motivation, which you just touched on then. But in regards to the service industry in general, because I was told in school, the narrative was go to university, become a lawyer, become a doctor. That way you be successful. Business is never something that you're taught or that people are sort of geared towards by their parents. They always have this bias towards you have to go to uni, be successessul.
Yes.
Whereas if you're just mowing lawns or let's say washing a dog, you don't want to be doing that. So maybe you want to touch on that sort of attitude that sort of still prevails in regards to that, and probably the untapped potential that's still in the service industry.
Yeah, true. The service industry has, provided a lot of success for a lot of many people. But on the same token, it's also, I think you've got to find the balance. Yes, we say you don't really have to go to uni and get a degree, but you can't drop out at year 10 either, Some people are okay and can go off and build businesses. I think you always need a backup plan. So I think year 12 would be quite acceptable. Look, I don't know. It's a mixed bag, that one. Business can be rewarding and easy, but sometimes you make mistakes. You can ruin yourself too. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think that's probably the thing now with people doing a side hustle, right? They have their 9 to 5, but they're sort of building something on the side like you did.
Yes.
And then once that was successful enough, you had the confidence to then go from that to what you wanted to do. Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
And to be successful, you kind of need a bit of maturity as well. Some people mature earlier than others, but in general, you've got to wait, mid-20s or so to really mature. So I think until then, you really should have some sort of backup plan.
Now, what's the best bit of advice that you can remember that you've ever received?
One pretty good one was to remember that business is all about numbers.
Right.
So, managing rejection, if you consider it as just numbers, you won't be offended by it.
That's a good way to look at something like that, because that's probably a lot of the big pain point for people is getting rejected and they don't put themselves out there in regards to an opportunity or something. Yeah,
well, just look at it as numbers. You might have to go quote to do carpet cleaning, for instance. You might get 10 leads to quote. You're not going to get all 10 of them. If you got eight of them at least, 2 of them was just numbers. They're not really rejection. Something went wrong somewhere. As long as you learn from why that happened, and it's always good to ask for feedback and analyze what happened. So that was really good advice. It's all about numbers.
Was any advice for people who may be struggling at the moment or not knowing what to do? Like, you obviously had a really good, strong vision when you were younger. So what would you suggest for people during this time?
Well, I would suggest that that people find something that they enjoy and have a passion for, and if they do find that, it won't feel like a chore.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. So the gyms group, for instance, there's 50 different opportunities or different divisions. I'm sure there's something in there that they will enjoy doing. Like, if you love washing, or if you love dogs, for instance, you could, if you consider a dog wash franchise, it'd just be all day loving dogs, you know. So you would enjoy it, and because you enjoy it, you'll actually be successful at it. And it's the same with our cleaning group. If you enjoy technical stuff, maybe you want to be a carpet cleaner, and understanding fibers and how to release stains and things like all this complex stuff. And if you're enjoying your day, it's not going to feel like a chore. And that's one of the things I do. I try and make my day as fun as possible. And how would I do that? Is I make sure that, you know, lunchtime is an enjoyable time. So we try and eat all together as a team here. We have regular breaks, coffee breaks. We try and, you know, put music on and stuff like that. Just enjoy the day. Yeah.
Now, I was going to touch on outside of work. What do you like to get up to? Obviously, work's a big important part of your life, but I do know you like to travel a bit when we could. But
yes.
Yeah, what about outside of work?
Well, travel is one thing. Yep, I love to travel. Just the unfortunate thing is I always travel to the same place. I have a little holiday house in Cyprus, so I go there on a regular basis. I love motorbike riding. I have a couple of motorbikes. I have a road bike and a paddock bike. I'm a very, very keen gardener, so I probably do about 10 hours a week gardening. And, you know, shed stuff, you know, man shed, you know, move my tools from that shelf to the other shelf. A lot of that. I enjoy time with my kids, watching videos. Very keen, you know, motivational videos on YouTube. Watch a lot of that. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
And you've got a very family-orientated business as well. I didn't touch on it earlier, but I think it's quite important to point it out because a lot of people say you shouldn't work with family, but you do the opposite, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
My two sons work here in our office. My wife works here. Her brother is our CEO. His wife works here. Her brother works here. My wife's sister's husband is a franchisor of ours. Next is, I think we're going to bring the family dog in somehow.
Family dog in. Run some papers around. So how do you find working with family? Is it something that's ever... Yeah.
To me, it works fantastic. You know, they're all here. They've always got my back. We have the same vision. We all want what's best for the business. So there's no personal egos here. And we just continually strive to make things better. And if one is down, we try and lift them up and support them through whatever's going on. You know, if they've got issues, we help them.
Do you think that's been a strength to the business over the years, and why it's been so successful for yourself? Is that you've got family involved in it as opposed to having outsiders?
I would think so. Yeah. Well, it must be. We rarely argue and mess about at work, so it's worked really well for me. And you know, I haven't checked the numbers, but I'm sure like our sick leave rate and all that, it's got to be very low. They very rarely take sickies, so they must enjoy being here.
No, it's definitely a good point. It's a good sign, isn't it?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, probably the downside is in personal time, we still kind of talk about work sometimes. You know, might be at a barbecue or Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve, we're talking about work, you know?
Yeah.
But it's one of my favourite subjects, so I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I was going to say, you just got it so integrated into your life, but you truly do have a family business, a family lifestyle business, don't you? Where you know, you're not away from, they're actually involved in your process on a day-to-day basis.
Yep, and you know, yes, they're involved and they're employees, but you know, they have become successful in their own right as well. You know, like Ali, for instance, he looks after car detailing predominantly on his own these days.
Yep.
So he's doing very well out of that, both physically or mentally and financially, you know. It's good for them. I love it because they're growing, and my boys are growing too. They're becoming more and more involved in the business and coming up with ideas that, you know, I couldn't even think of myself. So credit to them.
You've got a truly great family business, you know. It's Australia's largest, you know, cleaning franchise, as I said before, and it's quite impressive that you've just started from having a vision, a side hustle, which has turned into a multi-million-dollar empire.
I know. You know, and sometimes I actually think, you know, I'm not this smart. I'm probably going to get caught out soon.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm looking forward to seeing you take over mine, because I can imagine the look and the unhappy faced with some of those franchisors for anyone who's listening. It's
Well,
quite
to
a
be quite
competition.
honest, they have changed their management style a little bit and their structure, and they're doing pretty well. So for us to overtake them, we're going to have to lift our socks up, because mowing's doing pretty good these days. If they continued like 3 or 4 years ago, where they were kind of struggling a little bit, we probably would have been pretty close neck and neck by now. But they're doing pretty good themselves. So
Well, one thing I just want to touch on real quickly as well, I think, but what a lot of people don't realize is how many. I should have put this before, but how much new opportunities you guys also provide to new Australians, which I think is very important to mention, because obviously we have a lot of very talented people who come from overseas, but their qualification is not worth. When they come to Australia, and they find it hard to sometimes get a business and stuff. But you guys have provided countless new Australians with opportunities, and there's some great stories I know you've got in your division.
Yes, yeah, good point there, Joel. Yeah, that is true, mate. Someone who's could have been a doctor in their country, they come here, and their degree is probably not good enough. So in the interim, they look to find work, and they're probably overqualified to get work. So they decide, hey, maybe I'll just get a franchise. And it's quite interesting. They come on board and, just thinking it's a temporary thing, but in a short space of time, they become successful in what they're doing, earning lots of money and actually enjoying what they do. They don't actually go off and go back to being a doctor or whatever they were before. They get what they're looking for from our business. And there are some cases where they come in they just sort of save the entry fee, and you hear that within a couple of years they're buying a house or investment property or something, and that's really motivating for me. And the good thing about those people is, because they're so thankful of the opportunity, they actually refer friends and people that they know to buy from us as well. So,
I think it's important to point out, because a lot of businesses say they like to do that, but your business actually does that. And as you said, you've got people who are achieving. You're right. Within a couple of years, as you said, buying houses, which it's not a cheap market to buy in Australia, and it's must make you feel very proud that the facilities and the system you've created this opportunity to these people.
It's one of my biggest motivators, because I would consider my family like that as well. My parents were new Australians at one stage, well, obviously in 1973, and they were given opportunities by people, and I want to be the same. I want to help people too. And those new Australians, they appreciate everything we do. So why not? And in fact, I want to point out, when I wanted to do this, I was actually advised not to. And I won't tell you by who, but because I was advised not to, I wanted to do it even more.
Okay. Right.
So, and I'm lucky that I did, because it's been one of the successful decisions I've ever made.
And it's not only that, it's not only just selling a business. I know that you guys, you help them. Maybe English is not their, might be their third language or their fourth language. I know you help with classes and helping them get more accustomed to it and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, we certainly do. And our process is quite simple. A lot of our things, like our Jim's jobs, which is the quoting program, or the whatever, or a lot of the fields are auto-populated for them. It's quite simple, and if they have a huge accent, there's nothing wrong with SMSing clients either. So we teach them how to do that as well.
No, I think it's something that I just wanted to get in there before we leave it there, because I've taken more than enough of your time this day. So anyone who wants to find out more about the cleaning group or yourself, Haydar, what can they do? What can they visit?
jimscleaning.com.au.
Yep. And I know you've also got email,
Yeah, haydar@jimscleaning.net.au.
Yep, and you've also got a good Facebook page and Instagram as well. You've got a bunch of content, I know, with some social media influencer coming out very soon.
Yes, that's true. What's that? Jim's Cleaning, just on Facebook, isn't it?
Yeah, Jim's Cleaning on Facebook, and I think it's that Jim's Cleaning group, or Jim's Cleaning on Instagram as well.
Yep, awesome.
But no worries, Haydar. Thanks for that. Really appreciate your time and for doing this. And
thank you for the opportunity.
No, I really enjoy it, mate. And I just think it's a great story, and what you do for a lot of people is very important. And it's a great message of inspiration for anyone, how you started off with it's very forward thinking. You started with a side hustle back in the day and transitioned into making this multi-million-dollar empire. So it's a great story of inspiration for anyone who's doing something that might just be a side hustle, who knows what it can turn into, depending how you go.
There you go, mate. If I can do it, anyone can do it.
Well, if it was that easy, everyone would be. So the story is there. But I appreciate your time, Haydar. So thank you very much.
Lovely. All right, mate. Take care.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
See ya.
See ya. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Authentic Convos podcast. If you can do me a favor, make sure you leave a rating or review on wherever you listen to your podcast. And if you would click the show notes, you can find the links to the various social media. I'd love to hear from you. Good, bad, indifferent, otherwise. Who I should interview next, any tips for improvement, anything at all, please connect with me. Really love to know your stories as well. If you do have them, drop them in the comments or send me a message. But thanks again, guys, and we'll see you again next week.